Mohamed Osman. He's a researcher on Sudan at Human Rights Watch and joins us from Berlin. Mohamed, thanks for coming on to this program. Now, when we see this crackdown on leaders, as well as a crackdown on those protests that took place over the weekend, this seems straight out of the pages of the playbook for Sudan's military.
Yes, I completely agree. What we're seeing now, since the 25th of October, has been nothing but a complete display from the authoritarian textbook. We are seeing a complete disregard to fundamental rights and freedoms, even the ones included under the constitutional charter that the military leaders saying that their military takeover came to protect in the first place. Even after days before the protest on October 30th, we saw a flood of words of condemnations from different countries for the military leaders not to interfere with the freedom of Sudanese to protest on the 30th of October. What happened that day was also complete disregard, which shows that the international words of condemnation haven't been enough. And there is definitely an urgent need to move forward by those international actors in particular to show the military leaders there is some sort of a red line that consequences would follow through with.
Mohamed, what's then the responsibility of the international community with regards to what's happening in Sudan at the moment, especially when we think of countries like the United States and other countries that had been very vocal and very supportive of a transitional government over the last few years?
So here's the thing. When we try to approach the current international response, we also have to go back in time and see how was that international interaction with the transition has been from the start. As Human Rights Watch and other people, even the protest groups on the ground, we've been very concerned that even the civilian component wasn't really taking a priority in terms of pushing justice and accountability and reform agenda. The internationals on their part also failed to take this as a priority. Of course, the focus was on the economy for sure, but that definitely came on the account of the key and reform accountability demands. Now, as we see at the moment, there is a time to rectify that position, moving forward with the different options. Now the African Union suspended Sudan. That's a good start, but what should follow, for instance, should be for the African Union to deploy bodies, for example, like the African Commission to investigate what's happening in Sudan. The same call also applies to the Human Rights Council at Geneva to dispatch investigative mechanism to follow on the abuses that happened. Of course, countries like the US, the European Union, the Troika countries have been vocal about the support, have been vocal about the condemnation. But this is exactly comes back again that we need to move beyond the words because clearly this is not working for the military.
Yeah, beyond words and to take some real action at this point. Mohamed, I'd like to understand, in your opinion, how much of this coup really came about because of the economic and financial interests the military has?
There have been different reports about the opaque businesses that military leaders, in particular the leader of the Rapid Support Forces, Mohamed Dagalo, MT, and this has been a dangerous thing. One, because there are concerns about how these economic interests have been hindering the progress on the economic front in Sudan. But also, and this is where the problem lay as well, is also the failure of the transitional government to move forward with the security sector reform. Big part of the security sector reform has necessarily to address those kind of businesses. And of course, right, there are different reasons people could suggest in terms of what are the triggers. Definitely the military trying not only to protect its business interest, but also the potential for accountability that while the progress has been slow, but has been going somewhere, whether in terms of the domestic accountability or whether in terms of international accountability.
Mohamed Osman, really appreciate your insight and analysis live to us there from Berlin. Thank you.